degrees. I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
Not that.
Sustainable.
2. Go.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gasconade County. 43 degrees here at airtime on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching this morning live on Facebook. Welcome. Good to have you back along with us this morning, and a blue sky we have today, but what a past week we have had. They always say that if you don't like the weather in Missouri, hold on, because tomorrow will be different, and we just went through that this last week. Wow, what a snow we had here 2 days ago, and a very, very wet snow come from the north, and blanketed everything. And I don't know how much snow we actually had, but talked with a couple of neighbors, and I noticed here also about a half an inch of accumulation. The way it looked from the snow that we had, it was piled up on the grass, and normally wouldn't like snow too much, but I think in some respect, day before yesterday morning, I think it was 27 degrees here when we got up. But I think the snow probably helped with the grapes and probably helped with the grass, keeping them watered. So I did look at some clover patches yesterday, and it harmed it a little bit, but I'm sure it will be right back. The leaves were just kind of turned. And the grapes, we were probably, there are different stages in budding depending on varietals and also depending upon the plant. But some of those bud break come pretty early, but some of them are just now coming. It's a couple of week process, so that's good. That gives you a chance, because if there's no bud break, probably nothing to what we had is going to hurt them. But of course the water and the moisture help, so it's kind of hard to tell at this juncture, but I think everything's going to be fine on those fronts. So that said, did you get frostbite, Gracie?
I did not this time.
You didn't get frostbite this
Nope.
time? I bet you used a little more wood though, or not?
We did.
Yeah.
Still are.
Still are. Yeah, I know. It 43 degrees, and it's a cold, kind of, and yesterday, sleeted again, for a little bit, come in from the north again, and, kind of sleeted for a little bit. So we hope that is winter's last blast, but we shall see. Karen reminded me that the 27th of February that it thundered, so let us hope that we don't have anything that cold in May. That's what they say, but we shall see. Hey, it's good for you to be along with us here this morning, and we got one of my favorite cousin-in-laws with us this morning. Excuse me. Teresa Schulte is middle school principal, and she's here today, and we're just going to talk about school and stuff. But the first thing I want to do is say thanks for being here.
Thanks for having
Good
me.
to have you, and I want to ask about Ellis, baby Ellis. We had a fundraiser here, involved an awful lot of people, 2 months ago, maybe, in that neighborhood, maybe?
February 27th, actually.
February
When
27th.
it
So
thundered.
exactly. Look at that. You don't think I got it going on here. But, we had a huge turnout. Baby Ellis needed a transplant, a bone marrow transplant. Baby Ellis is her first grandchild, and
Second, technically.
Okay,
We have Dylan. So,
that's
yeah.
true. Okay.
That's okay.
The second grandchild, but she's doing well. She had a little setback, maybe a little infection. Tell us about baby Ellis.
Well, she is going to be 1 on May 6th, so soon, and she she was in the hospital for like 35 days because she did have to have the bone marrow transplant, and they did chemo for the first 7 days to kill her bone marrow, and then her donor gave like over 800 billion stem cells.
Wow.
So they have two reserves in case she needs a boost later down the road. But she seems to be responding well. Her numbers are going up. Like she was around 2,000 mark last week. So a normal person is 6,000. And so her immunity will be super low for like the next 6 months, but still taking those precautions. She came home on Monday evening and then decided it was fun for a day, but wanted to go back because she did get an infection in one of her lumen lines, which is attached to her port or her Broviac line. And today she actually had a bone marrow biopsy to make sure everything was going well. So they said she'll probably be there till Sunday till that infection clears up. But she's, always happy no matter what, and she's way stronger than I could ever imagine that I could even want to be or would be. So if she's not sleeping or she's smiling or laughing, and she just melts your heart. So, it's been tough, but like everyone, like Charlie said, the White Mule had the benefit along with the Palmers, with celebrating Truett Palmer. He was a kiddo from our community, that was super awesome as well. So just thankful for all the community support, no matter good times, bad times, everyone comes back, and that day definitely was huge. Like
it was unbelievable.
Like I've never seen it quite so full, and I mean, just everyone is so gracious and kind, and that's nice for the financial support, but just the prayers especially, that's the main thing, keeping God at the foremost and making sure that we just trust him and that he's going to guide us through, and just not get too worried about it, because he says don't worry about today, or don't worry about tomorrow because you have to face today. So that's kind of what we're doing, one day at a time. And Bailey and Austin do have to relocate to Washington because they have to live a certain amount of miles away from the hospital in case, like, the ambulance ride that they took Tuesday night, so they can get them there quick. But thankful that we have children. It's only an hour and 15 minutes. A lot of those folks live like 6 hours away, those families. So it's tough. So, but definitely been a learning, character building time for me, I know, and for our family, and for I think probably for everybody in this community, just watching how things go and what we deal with on a daily basis. But just super excited about each day. So
and I have an inkling of where a lot of baby Ellis's strength comes from, because your daughter, to begin with, worked here, very, very strong girl, and, very loving and good, but I think part of that comes from both sides of their family. There's no question about it at all. So we hope and pray for the best, and we know that outcome will be positive, because she is an absolute fighter, and no matter what obstacles that is in her way, when you're that old and you inspire people around you by your attitude without communicating in any other way, that's strength.
Yeah.
That's internal strength that is internal.
That's right.
That's just the way it is, and that's all good.
She's so smart. You say play peekaboo, and she goes like this.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, it's just amazing to watch how smart they really are and know what's going on. And
we talked about it this morning with Weston over there, and said, Grandma said he said something, and she didn't say it out loud to him, but just, he's so smart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they really
and
are.
they figure so much stuff out. We're trying to get him to lower his decibels a little bit, because at that age, at 2-year-olds, it's always top stuff.
You want to be heard.
You want to be heard. And I said, let's talk about your church voice. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about your hunting voice. We got to tone this down just a little bit. I swear I don't know where he gets that animated voice from, but
I wouldn't know either.
Anyway, it is all good. But we know you're dealing with a lot, and also want to indicate that our prayers go out for the family at school this week. A tragedy occurred in high school, right, as a freshman. I know my neighbor, who works here and helps me every night, came home last night and said he lost a good friend of his, in school the day before. And, it's devastating because he was a good, close friend of his. And, they just talked recently, and a young man took his life, that is hard to deal with, and there's no question. So amongst everything else, you and the teachers, people need to know that family needs your prayers.
Absolutely. Prayers for that family and all the kids and the teachers too. You don't realize, how you get attached to every kid, no matter if you had them in kindergarten or if you had them just, last week or yesterday. So, but all the staff did wonderful, just comforting kids and just, I don't know if a lot of academics went on, but that's okay. We were there for each other, supporting each other, and that's the main thing. We just have to deal with the needs at hand, and that's what we did. And I can't praise our staff enough.
No, and I can't either because, those are one of those, things that aren't written down on the, on the evaluation or the report, that, anyone does. But I know that being in the community we're in, Teresa, showing that love and support, the day you had a benefit here.
Oh.
Teachers, what I'm saying, and family and support, they're here. And that family needs it at this juncture, as well as our teachers and, all the caregivers around, because it is critical. Because I talk with Luke, about my personal, situation when I lost, back at the same basic age. I had the gal that I walked with in 8th grade graduation, committed suicide, that summer. And you live with that. You know what I'm saying? You live with those things. You adjust to them. You move on, but it becomes part of you. And I said, when I was talking to my neighbor, I said, this is, I would like to tell you that this ain't going to happen again, but it probably will happen again. You're going to be losing people that you love all your life, and, things will, come and go, but find the strength, and, live each moment and appreciate the times you had with them. So, they're in a better place. We can rest assured that that's the case, and they no longer are having those demons to suffer with, because, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? They have, and even though this kid was apparently very outgoing, you know what I'm saying, and, fun-loving, sometimes some of the greatest talent, think about, some of the greatest talent that we know of, Robin Williams comes to mind, John Dett. All of these particular people that have such great talent, a lot of those have a dark side, and we just hope and pray for your teachers and the family and all, that is involved in this tragic situation. So,
and definitely just keep that child's family in your prayers. And I know the community will, so thankful for that. So
yes. So, all of that said, spring is here, and school, is, getting in the last swing of things here.
About 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks left.
4.5 weeks, and that comes quick.
We made it through COVID, the year of COVID, so we're so excited about that.
And, get all this back behind us this year, and hopefully have a graduation on time this year that kids can remember and teachers can mentor to and support, and get that all behind us, because the kiddos out there need to have some structure. They need to have some normalcy. Is that a word?
Absolutely.
I don't know how to spell it.
It's a word, but I said this year's just been weird. just a weird year. I think graduation is scheduled for June 23rd at 6 o'clock at the high school. So I think that's the
May
plan.
23rd.
I'm sorry, yeah, May 23rd. Yeah, I was thinking June last year. May 23rd. I'm looking at Grace too, who's having her baby in May 23rd.
Let's hope it's before the 23rd, though, right?
So yeah, I think we're planning on doing that and, just celebrating those seniors, and that's just a big life event in their life, and, want to make sure that we can just let them experience that and their families as well, so.
Well, you are incredibly, you're dealing with, such a vulnerable age of kids, and, everything above shows that without a doubt. But, I mean, every age of kids has their challenges. But, when the hormones kick in, you know what I'm saying? And when
Absolutely.
all of these particular life-troubling things are put before you and put before middle school, it becomes a huge challenge, because this is most of the time, or a lot of times, where, everything surfaces. If there's trouble at home, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, I remember that time, don't you?
Absolutely.
Worried about everything in the world, and how are we going to do this? How's high school going to be different? Intimidated by life, and it's tough.
Yeah, our 8th graders can't wait to get to high school, but they're so scared in the same sense. It's like, they're getting ready to go to do their arena scheduling, make their schedules, and most of the time, it's kind of like seniors. They have 8th grade itis, is what I call it. They can't wait to get out. They're done. But then after the first 4 weeks of high school, they're like, can we come back? I'm like, well, sure, but I don't know where we'd put you, But they, it's just a big life event for them, and they're ready to make that change, but it's also kind of scary. And even as 6th graders come in, it's scary come from the elementary school, because they're used to being,
Sure.
just walking in the halls one by one. At middle school, we don't do that. This year we've kind of had to make some adjustments with COVID just to make sure we social distance and stuff like that. But for the most part, they have a whole lot more freedom. And so we always say, with freedom comes with responsibility. And if you don't have that responsibility, then, some freedoms get taken back away. But it's just a lot of learning and, dealing with peers and emotions. And you have Gerald kids come together with Owensville elementary kids. So that's a big transition for those kids. And trying to figure out who they've always been friends with, and now all of a sudden, I like this person, and then sometimes that causes some drama between, well, we've been friends forever, now they don't want to hang out with me. Just dealing with
That's the way Gracie does me.
Dealing with figuring out life, and so it's hard, but I feel like we have a great staff that really try to look at the kid as a whole, and obviously we're there for academics, but our teachers love our kids more than they want to, they want to make sure they have their physical and emotional needs met, and then academics comes after that.
Well, that step, you know what I'm saying, you leave behind all the security that you have learned, because you realize that, you're kind of there. It's your lonesome. You know what I'm saying? Your parents, have sheltered you and did whatever. And there's other things like that. But when with all the emotions and, are there at that juncture, it is, I think, one of the biggest steps that we make, and
it's hard for parents too, like 6th grade parents, if they've never had a middle schooler, they're sending their baby to the middle school, and oh my goodness, it's hard for them. They, it's like, oh, my kids are growing up, and oh, I can't believe this, and the kids are like, just stay in the car, Mom, I'm fine, so it's just that transition of life for both of them, mom and dad and the kid too. So it's just definitely an experience, and I see Dylan every day. He comes in, and so he sometimes will like be really happy to see me, and sometimes he's like, don't even, doesn't
no, not today.
Yeah, I can read him and say, hey. So he's like, but next year Campbell, our youngest, will be there, and I've never had. Well, I'll be the principal, so that's gonna be hard for her. I think like my mom's the principal, so I'm sure there'll be some learning curves for both of us to deal with at that point in time. But she's most looking forward to coming to get $1 so she can go get a snack in case she forgets her money or something. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yes, well, it's it puts you in a challenging area. There's no question about it. But you're apt, and your kids are very capable, very, flexible, and they're going to, not only your kid, but everybody that you're associated with, you'll be able, and your staff will be able to get, I think, the most possible that they can get out of them. So, that's all we can ask, because we are surrounded by that community. But big schedule coming up here, at the end here. A lot of testing, a lot of evaluation, across the board. Can you tell me, as far as COVID, where the kids are academically as a whole? Is it, are we close to normal? Or are we going to take? I know it's going to require a lot more work for a period of years, but are you positive? Are you confident that within the next year or two ahead, that this will all be behind us, and academically these kids will, for the most part, will be where we want them to be?
Well, the beauty of it is that the whole state is in this issue, not just our school. But,
right.
According to our data.
The whole nation.
the
whole world.
That's right. So as far as getting caught up, I think that we're all going to be on the same page. So it's not going to show like Owensville's way far ahead than the others, or it might, but according to our data, which we use different standardized research-based programs to provide us that data. Our kids are showing growth. We do have some kids who are, a little bit more behind, but we have things in place for them for RTI, like the response to intervention, so we can try to meet them where they're at and get them what they need. We have had after-school tutoring, which we've always had that, but just really zone in on like their areas of where they need to improve on. Just working with families at home to communicate that so they can help out, because parents always want to help too, like, hey, what can I do? Because they want their kid to be as successful as possible as well. So I think overall, our kids are doing really well, and I speak as a district, not just as a building, because Dr. Hardy, assistant superintendent, she reports all that to our board, but each of us as administrators look at all that data, and we talk and meet with our teachers and go over it, and then they determine, this is what we need to work on based off of our standards, and according to the state, we call them item specification reports, which the state of Missouri has every single standard, and they give you an example of like at what level this kid should be able to do it, if it's an application or just a knowledge of it, or and the different, we call it rigor. So we're getting ready to do our map testing, our virtual map testers, because we've had some virtual learners this year, are finishing up today in my building. So they've come in, and we put them in a room by themselves. There's about, the most we've had is 10. So we have a room that we can put them one at a table and spread them out 6 feet apart. And we ask that they wear the mask and comply to, all the guidelines we have in place. But next week, our 6th graders will start the map assessment. And we'll go all the way through May 14th. And in our building, I think elementary goes the following week as well. And then we have the last 8 days that we'll, we're going to try to do some normal things. Like at our building, we always have a tug of war. I remember Gracie probably remembers that. Mm-hmm. I mean, the kids love it. It's going to look a little different. We'll have to do it by grade level instead of like the whole school, but we're going to still do that. We're still going to do our talent show, again, by grade level. Sit in the commons. They have assigned seats for lunch, so if we had to contact trace, we'd know who was by who, and we have our plexiglass up. So, we're going to do that, and just some teachers want to barbecue for kids and things like that. So we have some good things in place for our kids, and try to provide those things so that, kids, it's been hard on our kids because,
oh my goodness,
it's a lot of put your mask on, and, it's hard because not all parents have the same philosophy, whether even if I have that philosophy, that's the rule, so I have to do it. And at school, it's hard. And, we have said if you're 6 feet apart, you can take a break, pull your mask down, because it's hard to wear a mask all day. And then they forget because they're kids,
of course.
And then they're walking down the hall, and it's like,
hey,
put over. I just go like this, and then they know, they put it up. But, and it gets frustrating at times for them and for us, but they've really done a great job. And I feel like some of these fun things will kind of give them some, we can actually do some fun things and not just all that stuff. And our kids have been cleaning classrooms. When I say cleaning classrooms, the teacher sprays the desk down. We sanitize in between every class. They wipe it down, and we make sure that, we have Germ-X everywhere. Kids are washing their hands. We have Germ-X stations as you enter the buildings. throughout the buildings. Our cooks have done, and our custodians, amazing, but we have to wash the plexiglass. And you have to, and we have a lot of plexiglass. We have like 30 lunch tables. So we have to do every single one, and so, we have to wash those, and we have to sanitize.
What are we going to do with all that stuff when it's over with? You know what I'm saying?
My husband says they make good windows for deer stands. I don't know. But.
There's no question. Well, the map testing will give, you and the state and probably across the nation, probably the most complete data points, you know what I'm saying, for, the overall evaluation. But I would not be surprised because in nature, no matter what it is, there is compensatory gains, that come from periods of downtime. And I don't care if you're evaluating the calf, you know what I'm saying, that's had a hard winter and maybe not had all the nutrition or whatever. There comes these growth spurts that, just, comes. And I can tell you with what Gracie told me, this last week, was that, I'm pregnant, I've got this baby coming on, and I'm getting this day. I've got so much to do. I've never heard her talk like that before. I'm thinking, and I'm thinking at a different level, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and I see things at a different level than I've ever seen it before. That's what's going to happen to a lot of these kids. So, not all of them, but an awful lot of them will use this pent-upness, and once they are freed, from, it's no different than the economy or anything else, and, whatever. We've been closed up for so long. This last weekend, the last 2 weeks, we have seen, we've been blessed to have good business, all through this thing after being closed down for a couple of months. But the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've seen people here that was, older people that have had both shots, that have come back within, the circle, and they're happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they haven't been here for way over a year, and it's compensatory. They're ready to get out and do something, and they feel safe and secure, and they should, because they've had both vaccinations, and our numbers are outstanding out here ahead.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's all over by no stretch of imagination, because we know better, but the compensatory and this summer will be a huge growing opportunity for the kids, as they can get back and socialize as they did. But they've learned a lot, They've learned a lot internally about themselves and their inner strength while this COVID had been weighed heavy upon them.
Absolutely. Personally and academic, we have seen lots of growth. Every kid is growing. So they're getting a full balance, I guess. They're getting the personal growth, character building, and then the academic piece too. So and we are having summer school too. So some of those kids, that were struggling can still come to summer school. It's 9 days. And it'll be academics, and then of course we always try to do some fun activities. And then with our mask mandate, so we're able to, that was kind of a relief in some sort, because now they can stand beside each other, and if someone were to become positive, if they both have their mask on, that other person doesn't have to be quarantined. And so that has really helped our numbers, because before November, that's all we did was contact trace pretty much every day. There was always
who is who and who is with who, and
you had to go to
what
the
teams you play on,
and where do they sit in the lunchroom? Do they ride the bus?
School bus.
So, at one time we'd have 20 kids at a time that we'd have to contact trace and call their parents, and, then they would have to be quarantined, and then that would cause extra work for teachers, because then they would do through Google Classroom or through the online learning program, and just that communication. Our teachers have done fantastic. Has it been a bed of roses? No, there's been lots of thorns in those roses, but we've gotten through those, and now they're, we'll see the full bloom, I think, and definitely has, I think we all learned a lot from it.
Well, of all the strengths, in my opinion, of all the strengths that, the kids are, going to see as time goes on, the building of the character, that has occurred is a lifelong thing that has connotations that are unmeasurable, because they're gonna, have a character, you know what I'm saying, that they wouldn't have had, probably, or it would take a lot longer, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, for that to develop, and that will show benefits because their eternal strength and understanding and knowledge of people and their concern, about what they have learned about other people because, as a whole, Teresa, we don't wear masks for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with that. And not for the kids, probably, for the most part, but a lot of those kids are going to have gained the understanding that the reason they're trying to be safe is that they don't take anything home to grandpa and grandma or somebody that is ill, So those are key elements that will produce good fruit as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a lot of the parents, because they're concerned with, they have elderly or they have some immunity issues and things like that. So I do, when we get to the end, I want to put something else in about Ellis, but.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so through this whole process at Children's with COVID regulations as well, like you have to check in with security, like they give you a name badge. I mean,
Right.
I think they probably had those in place prior, but that's a lot more restricted. But as I've gone to visit, because I was able to go and be one of those caretakers, there have been 3 of Austin, Bailey, and myself. I would go primarily to give them a break because it's hard when you're in there all week.
Oh my goodness.
But I've developed some friendships, and so one of the ladies at the check-in desk, her name is Ernestine. We were just talking, and one day when I went, I had the white mule shirt on, and she said, "Where's Dad at?" And so we started having a conversation, and I told her where. She's like, "I'm gonna have to come out there and visit that place." I said, "Well, okay, yeah." And so she's like, "Now tell me." And so I was trying to tell her where it was at and stuff. And so went on my way. So then I would come back again the next day, or not the next day, but the next few days or the next weekend, and she's like, "Hey girl," and I'd say, "Well, hey Ernestine," and she's like, "Now tell me again about the white mule." So I would tell her again, and so she got my phone number, and she goes, "When I come out there, I'm going to call you, and we're going to hook up." And I said, "Oh, absolutely." So when you go out there, I said, make sure you tell Charlie or Grace or Karen that I sent you, and they're going to take care of you. And so the other time I came, I did bring her a bottle of wine from here. She was so excited. So just, you get to build relationships with people you never would have crossed paths.
And they'll be there forever. They remember those things, Teresa, and you connected at that level, and it's a whole nother element, and that is, that's the good that comes out of this
right
challenge and these, these particular situations that, they are good moments, and this country will soar, I mean, everything that we're going through on every level will not be like this in 5 years, just so you know.
Oh.
I mean, we are headed, I think, and maybe I'm just overly optimistic, but we are headed into a better time, a better grace period, and I'm looking forward to it because it's, we've seen enough hate, you know what I'm saying? And, I think people are beginning to understand the money that's in hate. And I hate to put it that way, but it pays big dividends to a lot of people. And a lot of people are going to figure out that a lot of hate, you know what I'm saying, is beneficial, for, some people that have, a lot of resources. But anyway, the end of school is here. Academically, we know where we are. Sports-wise, you got kids playing some, so
we have we've had all of our events. There's been some delays or some cancellations because of some COVID stuff, but I mean, they've all at least had part of their season or most of their season, and right now baseball is doing a really great job.
Does middle school have a team? No.
Not baseball, but we've had basketball, volleyball, and right now there's track going on.
Okay, so I know there's track and cross country too at middle school.
In the fall, yes.
Okay,
So
and how about girls soccer?
At high school only.
At high school, okay.
But they're in full swing, and like we have a golf team at the high school, so like my PE coach is the golf coach, so like they've been going to their meets, and we have a union track meet tonight for middle school kids, and so they're able to get out and do those things. They do have to sign a COVID waiver in case,
sure,
because it's really hard. They're supposed to wear their mask when they're not
participating.
Or if they're less than, if they're not participating, if they're less than 6 feet, but they are aware that if someone has it, then they would have to be asked to quarantine and then probably lose some season time. But I think for the most part it's not been normal, but it's been normal. Like, we've tried to do as many things as we can that we've done in the past, and our kids need that extracurricular activity. Our parents need it. I think just they want to see their kids, they want them to participate in things, and kids have done a good job.
And I think in this particular situation, and I'm kind of negative sometimes when I think about Facebook and texting, because I watch the kids around here, or sometimes the adults around here, do the texting and do this, and I see the downside of that. But I think at this juncture for the kids, having this, this technology, interface with somebody at all the time is a benefit during the COVID.
Absolutely. So that has definitely, keeps them in a relationship, so to speak, and be able to see people and have communication, even though maybe it's not, in person. But you could do FaceTime. I mean, we do a lot of FaceTime, with Ellis and them. So it's like you're not there, but you still don't miss out on the things that they're doing. Even like the kids, there's been a lot of FaceTime live sports, as they're doing. So if you can't go, I think they've tried to make sure that it's out there for those folks who still want to see and participate, but yet are afraid or can't come out for some reason. So I think you're absolutely right. The internet has definitely been a benefit. There's always negatives to everything we do, so I'm going to look at the positive side, and it's been more of a benefit, I think, than a negative this time. So it's kind of kept everyone in the realm of things and up to date. Dwayne's mom she does not do Facebook, and she always will say, well, it's on Facebook. I heard. Well, I'm like, well, you should get Facebook. I'm not getting Facebook. She's 88, so I doubt that she'll do that. But some folks just won't do that. But I think if you can embrace that, again, it's all about change. Mm-hmm. Change is not easy, but sometimes we have to embrace it.
I don't use Facebook, but I do look at it for some. I mean, I don't know. Do I look at? I don't even know what's on my computer on the marketplace.
You just scroll through, Mom.
I scroll through, but not her daily stuff. Just the overall stuff I don't look at. But anything that's interesting, she shows me. So I want you to remember this, Grace, when I am ministering and preaching. About that gun technology, and you're not focused on what you should be doing for the kids here or for you. You remind me that I did say today that I see some benefit.
Okay.
During this, but only till this gets done.
And even
only hold me accountable until we're all back to normal. Then I'll go back.
I think it's going to kind of be some new normal. I mean, I think some people will change some things, and this will kind of be a lot more virtual things happening. Doesn't mean you can't do both, but some people will choose to do that. And working from home, a lot of places still are working from home, and they're not, going back to the office. And so,
And think about all of those virtual kids that we're worried about, or, some of those, yes, to be worried about. Other ones will excel because they've learned so much more by being virtual and having, exposed to answers to everything that you've ever thought about is out there,
Right.
So
learning styles, everyone's different. Some kids have really done a really nice job, but for the most part, it's been kind of hard for our kids that are virtual. It's just not the same as what you hear. It's not the same because the teacher's not there to help them, and it's just different. It's hard.
So we're going to see, Teresa, that COVID is going to change every aspect of life as we've known it, and education is going to be no different. I mean, as we move forward here and be able to assess of where we are, the rules are going to change in regard to education and what we can do and how we approach things. And I think there would be good come out of those particular things. I mean, things such as distant learning, which was kind of distant. It was hard. I mean, when they were talking about this, and I did some. Of course, I didn't go to college until I was, in my 40s,
Yeah.
But we did some of that back then, you know what I'm saying, 25 years ago. But it was online and those things at East Central, and you were exposed to it. But this is going to put things up a notch. We're going to find, with more data, what I'm saying, with more people that are exposed to it, we're going to find different ways of producing solutions. And those are positive, in my opinion, things for education. The medical thing, I think it's going to be very positive. I think we're going to be able to drive cost in a different direction, by, not having to go, what I'm saying, to, the doctor and get this, that, or whatever, but just intermeshing all this data and information together, even though I don't like sometimes everything the doctors know about me.
A lot of virtual appointments now. That's been
That's exactly right, and that's always a choice. And that's, when you live, out here, and, you got a care group of doctors, and we're blessed here.
Oh.
You can go, 30 miles and in 50 miles in any direction, have world-class health care, But, when you get, South Missouri or Arkansas or, any other places don't have that accessibility. But when you can bring world-class health care, to you, and that knowledge and experience, our education, through technology, it's going to be a game changer.
I have a hard time imagining, but I know that there are going to be so many new jobs that we don't even know they're going to be available in the next few years with technology. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's all going to change, and I think God probably allowed the COVID to come because he's seen those changes, and he knows that things are going to have to make changes to keep up, with what goes on here. So,
He usually does kind of like, make some dead stops and make you take a right or left turn or something, so he knows all, right?
He does to me personally.
Yeah, I know.
He grabs my attention when I lose it, there's no question about it at all, so.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're talking with Tricia Schulte here, middle school principal, about life and what she does, and the value that she adds to our kids and our community. And we're going to come back with her in a minute here on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or Facebook Live. And Gracie, why don't you get us up to speed here on what you know? And you doing well, by the way?
I'm doing great. Yep.
You're doing great.
Feeling good.
Seeing the doctor every week, and baby's growing okay.
Oh yeah. She's growing fast.
Feel good?
Yep.
Do you have a name picked out or not telling?
Not really.
She ain't saying.
I think we have to look at her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay.
So-
I've heard a lot of people say that. I have to see if they're a Lily or a
Right.
Betsy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Or a Charlie.
what she tells us, and I concur with that.
Not a Charlie.
I mean, I had Grace picked out a long time before, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
but we didn't name her until we named her, and I don't think that we shared that with anybody either, so that's good.
Yeah. I like the surprise.
You gotta have
The
some
names.
surprise.
I
You know
know.
what you're having, right?
Yep. Alrighty, Lynn's Spring Craft and Vendor Show is April 24th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will be at 2 locations on 12th Street at the VFW Hall and Barefoot Event Center. Food will be available and masks are recommended. Zelch Welding and Zelch Farms is having a Bluegrass Music Day Saturday, May 8th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is off of Highway T outside of Rosebud. Food and drink will be available. They will have live bluegrass music, blacksmith demonstrations, crafts, and displays. And bring your lawn chairs.
As a matter of fact, I talked with Clyde yesterday. He's going to be on the radio show right before that May 8th date, okay? So we got him booked. You weren't here, but I think we got him on the calendar. We're going to talk about his bluegrass days. But we're also going to cover other things because he is the emergency management director for Gasconade County, and we're going to incorporate all of those issues together. So Clyde will be here, whatever May, the
May
Thursday
6th.
before May 8th, whatever that is, you know.
May
Ellis's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
There you go.
Yeah.
This Friday night at the White Mule, we will be serving steak, shrimp, beef kebabs, and chicken parmesan from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, we'll have pizza, wings, and hamburgers available from noon until 5, and then we will start serving our steaks until 8:30 after that. And then Sunday is all you can eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 to 3:30.
So, there you have it. You know, things going on this weekend.
Prom is this weekend for Owensville.
Oh, the prom is this weekend?
And Springfest in Owensville is happening this weekend too. I
Wow.
think the car show and all that stuff. I'm not really sure all the details, but I know that is happening this weekend.
The prom's a huge deal, and you know, I don't think I would have liked to went to the prom with a mask.
They have to wear a mask.
I know, I'm just kidding, you know.
We're
but-
calling it the mask prom. Yeah, instead of a mask ball.
Of course, well, that's very true. There, you know, that was. Well, I'm not talking about my prom day.
I think the kids are just excited they're having one because you know.
Oh, they are to be.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, they are to be.
You'll
you
be
know.
seeing lots of people probably taking pictures out here because that's what
Yeah,
they seem to do. So
I'm sure that's the case. So,
you'll be
guess
busy.
I got to get the grass cut, right, Grace?
You better.
know?
Yep.
Got a day to do it.
Yes. Yeah. I know because it's going to rain.
Is it gonna rain?
I think sometime over the weekend again. You know, but whatever. We'll take what it is. You know. But, so a lot going on here. The prom, as you said, and that, you know, you remember your prom days? Mm-hmm. I do too, and that's the two sides of the sword. I had a good time, but you know, I'm glad I don't have to go through that again. Finding a date, you know, wasn't an easy task, you know,
I can imagine.
because I was a procrastinator.
You were a procrastinator.
Procrastinator.
Well, you know, so many people at that point, you know,
We'll blame
is
it on
paired
that.
up.
Oh,
Do you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So many people are paired up
They're
at
already
that.
established, right?
That's already established. So, you know, I mean, all that's going to change, but maybe they wasn't even going out, but they were close enough. You know what I'm saying? And
Uh-huh.
so I always waited till, you know, the day or two or week before, whatever, and then.
Well, what'd you wear if you waited till the day or two before?
Oh well, I had some pictures of some. I was in the plaid
Oh, okay.
deal. You know what I'm saying, with white and black shoes and you know leisure suits. You know that. Oh
Like
wow.
John Travolta?
I was a cat's me out. Let's put it that way. But you
thought you
know,
were.
ended up, you know, and I shouldn't say this, but you know, just at every prom, just took a friend. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you know, so
There's a lot of times we just want the group of girls or
Yeah,
a group, you know,
that's
even
what
some
I
guy
did.
friends. You have a lot more fun because you're not feeling like you have to just talk to that one person. You're just there as a group. So I think a lot of people are doing that too.
yeah, and that's fantastic. But it just brought back memories.
Yeah.
You know, no question about it all. So you got prom, and you mentioned Springfest. Well, do they do the maypole stuff still? Do you?
They're doing that.
Wasn't that about 8th grade or 6th, 7th, and 8th that you, or that was before
It was
that?
elementary. Well, it's always been elementary since I've known it. I don't know.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
usually been 3rd or 4th grade, but
I
this
was
year
gonna say
5th
fourth
grade
grade.
I think is doing it, and it's like May 18th at their concert.
Kids in advance, because I think we did it when we were juniors. No, I'm kidding.
Up the rigor, Charlie. I told you we talked about rigor earlier. So we shift curriculum, so then now it's all the way down to elementary, not in high school.
I know. That's why I'm so far behind maybe all the time. But no, that's good stuff. So, you know, you're in charge of the administration, so I know that you've given thought and you've got curriculum this summer, you know what I'm saying, for not only the kids, But I'm sure that there's going to be continuing education for the teachers to assess where they are and how to get through this. And, it's going to be extra effort, more than likely.
We have that for our elementary ELA teachers are writing ELA curriculum next week, and then our middle school folks and high school are doing like May 10th, 11th, and 12th. We're getting a new curriculum, a new textbook series. So you want to always make sure that aligns up with our curriculum, and it's all based from, again, the standards, the Missouri standards, and we line that up. So they're going to get some collaboration, some time to work together to make sure that they get all the right stuff in the right places and kind of see where we're at now and make sure if there's any gaps that they can make those adjustments. So we try to give them time to do that, either throughout the school day or like in the summertime, have them come in and do that. So I know that it's ELA this summer. Last summer we didn't do it. Last summer I think we did science because we had new science curriculum last year, and the year before that was math. So we're kind of on a cycle, so we make sure that every year that everyone gets an opportunity and not just focus on one content area. So they have that coming up, and then we're always looking at PD options for our teachers, and if they
Standing for
professional development. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I'm just used to the educational world here. Professional development for our teachers. If they want to, there's a conference they want to go to, they just let us know. We have a professional development committee, and then usually I've never seen them ever be turned down for an opportunity, unless it's some sort of huge cost or something. But we always try, and we encourage our teachers to go across the hall to their neighbor. We have a lot of good professional development in our buildings, and not have to leave town to go see something great. So we have great staff, and we always are trying to encourage them, which they do it anyway, like to learn from others. And I actually have a staff member who just finished up her master's degree in curriculum and instruction. She's going to graduate in May, but she kind of took our mentoree program and kind of added an extra component, which just made all the forms for our teachers so they could go and make observations. They could write out their information, and it was all done for them, so they can plug that into their professional development logs, because they have to do that every year. Every teacher is required to keep a professional development log, and they have to submit that. We score that, and we have to turn that into DESE. So there's lots of components. Not only do they have to teach their kids, but they have all these other things that they're working on behind the scenes, just like a show. So many things to get everything to come together. So they do put a lot of time and effort. And Dwayne, my husband, will always say, well, teachers, you just work August to May. I'm like, no, that's not true. And he knows better because he lives with me, but that's what a lot of people think, that they don't do stuff, but they do so much.
That's such an important part. Yes, we want them exposed to that, but this year teachers need some downtime. Teachers need to spend some family time. Teachers need to do some traveling. Teachers need to get away from it, because what they've went through has been very stressful on them, and they just need some time to sharpen the saw.
Absolutely.
And do what they want to do, and get ready for whatever. Everything else will come, but they need to be relaxed and have some time to appreciate what they work for.
Self-care. I mean, I preach that all the time, and I've gotten better at myself, because but like this year I've started running and just trying to make sure I take better care. But we always say you've got to take care of yourself, and your family comes first.
I like that idea.
Self-care.
When I go home at lunch,
No, I like that idea.
when I go home at lunch, it's going to be self-care.
Take a nap, all right?
It's going to be.
It doesn't have to be.
I don't nap, honestly, nobody ever believes that, but I don't nap nearly what I used to,
You don't.
But, sometimes I think I need to go home and read a book, what I'm saying, and have some self-care, although
But if you like cutting grass, that's that's something that makes you feel
self-care.
good. That's whatever makes you feel.
Unless I get stuck.
Well, that's not always fun. That adds
or whatever.
Sure.
It's self-care. I love that, Teresa. Hey, I learned something every time you're here.
Oh, thanks. Me too.
God bless you, and thank you for what you do. And you have always got a lot of balls in the air. But we truly are happy that you are where you're at and taking care of our kids, taking care of our community, and taking care of your family. And we're fortunate to have you as a good customer, what I'm saying, at the White Mule. And, thanks for what you do, Teresa Schulte.
Thank you for what you guys do. And you guys do a lot for our community. So, you know, I really appreciate that, and I know the whole staff and the whole district appreciates that too, and our community. So thank you guys. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Appreciate you. And next week, Grace, we've got, who we got?
Somebody.
Amanda.
Amanda. Yep. Amanda Okenfoos.
What's she going to talk about?
What's it called? The Llama Mama diaper.
Oh, the diaper collection.
Yeah.
They're starting a new program or something
Yeah.
for needy.
Isn't the
It's
needy
kind of like a
lady
helping
starting that?
hands,
Okay, helping hands for diapers.
something like that. Yeah. We'll learn more about it.
Well,
next
for
week.
kids, I know we'll learn more about it, but anyway, it's another good thing. You know, our church does the helping hand, you know, every month, and we know that the needs are out there, and you do too. So,
Yep.
you know, it's giving back a little bit.
That's what we do, right?
So we do. God bless you. Tell your family hello.
I will.
We will see you next week, good Lord willing, and the weather will be different. And by next
75
week.
on Monday.
Ah!
Excited. Grass will grow, Charlie. We cut grass for self-care.
I'm gonna do that by grinding feet as soon as we're done.
Okay.
Gonna go self-care of the cows.
There you go. There you go.
Great for you to be along, and we'll see you next week.
Stripping them of legal protections. Woke culture. It's a dangerous time. But Greg Kelly is fighting back. All this week, Greg's on Newsmax TV with his special series,